This is for anybody that's a perfectionist. Stop trying to shoot all the content first. Stop trying to get all the perfect landing pages. Stop trying to figure out all the emails. Just do it, bro. Just do it. Like the first like 2 months of sessions, I was doing them on Zoom live. And then what did I do? I recorded the sessions and then I sold them for $5,000.
Spicy.
Stop trying to and then when I had the money, now I can hire a real videographer to do it in the right way, and then I can reshoot everything. And then what do? I'm gonna relaunch it, and now it's $10,000.
What's happening, good people? Welcome to another episode of First Generation Wealth Builders. Man, so last night I was out and about at the Social Proof alumni dinner, and I met my guy, Kyle King. What's happening, brother?
Hey, man, I'm feeling blessed, man.
Likewise.
Definitely.
I was like, yo, I got somebody that missed. You was just like, where do I need to go? I'm there. Say less.
Yeah, I feel like so many people operate with ideas or operate with plans and not execution. So last night when we're having a conversation, it's like, hey, we need to connect in the future. Now, we about to do this right now. Because what if tomorrow doesn't come, bro? What if I didn't wake up? What if you didn't wake up, right? What if next week didn't happen, right? We want to be able to impact today.
I love the energy, bro. I love it. I love that, man. So for those who don't know you, tell us about yourself.
For sure. So before the titles, one, I'm a man of God. That's definitely first and foremost. I'm a father to a beautiful 5-year-old that just started kindergarten last week.
Super dope.
But outside of that, business-wise, I help people grow their businesses, coaches, consultants, service-based provider, through writing books, and help them gain premium clients. Because everybody has a story, right? But everybody doesn't know how to leverage that story to be able to build multiple 6 and 7 figures.
Agreed.
The emotions is what help people buy. The heartfelt connections is what help people buy, not the business model, not the prices. Like Brother Myron teaches, it's the payoff. So I help people increase their payoff by teaching them the pain points in their stories and how to unpack them so that they can connect with the pain points in other people's.
Understood. Solid. How long you been doing that?
So interestingly, bro, I've been an author for 7 years. So I've published 7 books. The goal is 10 books before 30.
Okay.
So published 7 books. I've sold over 100,000 copies of books over the last, few years. Just closed the deal last week with Charter One as an EMO, so they bought 50,000 copies of one of my books. And over the years, people continue to come to me like, hey, how do you publish books? How do you sell books? I have this book, but it's not making money. I have this book, but it's not in bookstores. I have this book or this idea, but I don't know how to do it. So through the pandemic, started working with educators and started really realizing that they have stories, they have expertise, but they're only getting $35,000 a year. And I don't understand it. And this is somebody coming from a $40,000 salary as a high school administrator, right? This is me at that point. So I'm like, nah, this doesn't make sense. So I'm going to teach y'all how to do it for free. And then we had educators leaving the profession because they were making 6 figures within 3 months. We had educators leaving the profession because they were generating $22,000 for a book launch. And then we had educators happier because now they can offset their salary with an additional $40,000, $50,000 a year just from leveraging their experience and their story. But then I was like, nah, I can't scale this model because educators don't have the revenue to be able to serve or buy into a high ticket offer.
Facts.
And it was time to increase the price point. So then we really nailed down, all right, who could best benefit from this offer? Speakers, consultants, coaches, people that are already educating people on a high level. They just don't have something to package it up to be able to get in front of more people. So then we started targeting our marketing approach. We were able to generate $250 within 6 months. And we're going after 800,000 this year.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. Hey,
sure.
Congratulations.
For sure.
Before we go too far, though, man, what are some of the titles to some of your best-selling books?
Yeah, so the mission plan, the decision, the mission plan, the discovery, the mission plan, the destiny, those are my first 3.
What are they about?
Yeah, so let me ask you this question. What you do now, did you think that you would be doing this as a kid?
Real estate, yes. Selling hair extensions, no.
Okay. So what did you want to do when you were a kid?
Be a sports agent.
What happened? Did you have the mentorship? Did you have the exposure?
No.
You made some bad decisions.
I went to traditional schooling, got a finance major, and then I got sidetracked by other things.
That's the point. What if you had a guide or a model or a mentor or a book that could have tracked every decision that you needed to be making? do you think that you would have probably become that sports agent?
120%.
That's what the first book was about. But then you make your decision, but then you go through this self-discovery process, because now you start getting exposed and experience different things.
Correct.
That's what the second book is about. But now once we're operating in this place of nirvana, and this place of an ikigai is what I like to call it, then you have the roadmap or the blueprint to getting to your destiny. Now you're at your destiny because you're operating in passion and purpose.
Facts.
And now you're being prophetic, not just in revenue, but prophetic to other people as well. That's what our third book was about. So I wanted to be able to help people and help
That's
college.
a mouthful. Hold on, bro.
Word.
Hold on. Hold on, bro. You on this thing talking spicy.
Let's get it.
Hey, like, how old are you, if you mind me asking?
28, bro.
All right. You sound like you got like 40 years of experience like myself.
Yeah.
Man, I want to go into those books a little bit more.
For sure.
Just because, but let's talk about the like my mission. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because a lot of people and their passions and things that they really could, the true gift that they got to give back to the people, how do they manifest that? How do they discover that? You know, like I'm hearing it as you're talking, but I want a little bit deeper dive into that.
Yeah, for sure, bro. The biggest thing is you have to listen. I think a lot of people try to create, but they don't listen. And what we have to listen to first is God, right? I think God continues to talk to us, but we continue to take things led by flesh, and we're never really taking time to be present in the presence of God. So
I'm
now
guilty of that.
yeah, so we're not really listening, because for years I thought I wanted to do all these different things, but I was distracted by women. I was distracted by the cars that I saw on social media, and I was distracted by lifestyle. I was distracted by the want of money. But what I realized is when I started to operate in the purpose, in the plan that God had set out for me, then everything started to come. I started to now buy the car that I wanted to drive. I'm now with the woman that I want to be with. I am now
Congratulations.
living in the house that I want to live in. My son has everything that he needs. I'm now able to pay for my parents to do the things that they need. Things started to work out when I started to follow his plan. See, the problem is that we think that we're the Picasso painting, but we're just a piece of the Picasso.
Man, it sounded like somebody was talking to me the other day, huh? I'm just be,
That's
hey,
it.
you talking to me? You know
That's
what I mean?
it,
That's why I
right?
had to slow you down. Talk to me a little bit.
That's
you know what I'm
it,
saying?
right? So if we go to actionable steps, because I think a lot of times we talk theory, but it's kind of like somebody listening right now, what is the actionable steps, Kyle, on how do I operate in my gift, right?
Yes.
So number one is I want you to identify the things that you do naturally that you don't really have to work at, whether that's speaking, whether that's problem solving, whether that's reciting information, whether it's memorizing, whatever it is, what comes naturally to you that you really don't have to do. The next thing is passions. What do you really love to do? Like, what do you really love to do? You love to talk about. It lights you up. And also, what are the problems that you get excited about talking about or researching? That could be LGBTQ community. That could be politics. That could be sports. That could be parenting strategies. That could be economics, whatever it is. The last thing is experience, right? What have you gained experience in, and what have you also been educated on? And this doesn't have to be experience like you worked at this job, this internship. What is somebody taught you? What did you learn in church? What were you mentored on? When did you serve in the community? When you operate in this GPE, the gifts, the passions, and the experiences, when you connect the dots of those different things that you've identified on that list, that's the thing that you should be doing. A lot of times, bro, we live as nouns when our reality should be verbs. What I mean by that, if you can sing, what should you do? You should be a singer. If you could dance, what should you do? You should be a dancer. If you can sell, you should be a salesman. No, it's okay to do multiple things. It's okay to be all of those different things and operate from a place of a verb. I can dance, I can sing, I can sell, I can build a business. So what I did is my GPE exercise. I speak, I write, I create, I innovate. I do it all. And I'm still a dope ass father.
I love it. Hey, man, who are your mentors?
Yeah, for sure, bro.
like,
sure.
let's get into it.
For sure.
Who do you analyze? Who do you study under?
Yeah.
You know?
Obviously, first and foremost, the scripture, bro. I think that we can definitely learn a lot more reading than experiencing, right? Because there's 3 levels of learning. There's the number 1 level is the experiences, the things that we go through. I truly believe that it's a wise man that learns from the mistakes of others, but it's a fool that learns from his own mistakes.
Facts.
Number 2 is relational. We learn based upon the relationships that we have with other people and the things that I get from you. But the highest level of learning is spiritual connection, vertical alignment, right? So my first mentor is God, right? So second mentor, shout out to, obviously we here in Atlanta, shout out to David Shands. But David serves as a different type of a mentor for me. It's not about entrepreneurship when I talk to David. It's about spiritual alignment. So I look at him as more so like I ask him questions about how is it to be a husband as an entrepreneur. How do you stay grounded, spiritually as an entrepreneur? When you have different things that can be around you that look good, i.e., women or money or all these different things, how do you stay focused and humble as an entrepreneur?
He does a great job at all of that.
All
man.
of those different things,
Yeah,
right?
no
See, a
doubt.
lot of people see him as an opportunist, but I see him as a man of God that is humble. So it's integrity, right? Second entrepreneur or second mentor for me, man. Shout out to Andre Norman, man. 20 years in prison, graduated from Harvard Business School after that, and now he's literally reforming the prison system. And unorthodox mentorship, but he makes me very uncomfortable a lot of times. But that uncomfortability has given me the motivation and inspiration to be the man that I am today, right? My boy George Achampong out of Charlotte, again, man of integrity, man of God, but he's a financial guru. My man Joe Polish, shout out to Joe Polish, Genius Network out of Phoenix, Arizona. Brilliance and how I've really been able to see how he's brought people together and how he's brought masterminds together and people are paying $150,000, from Ben Hardy, from Simon Sinek, from Keith Cunningham, from, all of these major people that we read their books, he puts them in one room. So, I look at mentorship two ways. One, you want to be able to identify people that have already done what you're trying to do. Number two, I have to also be mentored by people that embody the principles, the values, and the virtues that I want to possess as a man, as a father, as a husband. I'm not going to be, just because you drive a Rolls Royce doesn't mean that you could be a mentor for me. Just because you've made a lot of money in my industry doesn't mean you could be a mentor for me. If you're treating your woman wrong, if you're out here doing things that I don't abide by, you have to have mentors that truly embody the principles of who you want to be remembered as, not just look good on social media.
No doubt, no doubt.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned a lot of people, a lot of dope people too. Like there's a lot of people that don't got mentors. And one of the questions was you asked me that as far as like to understand my path and where I ended up at and why I didn't achieve my goals. Outside of that, why would you stress that one has a mentor?
Because you don't know it all. And you're going, like, I said this last night too, man, success leaves clues. But I would rather learn the clues from the successful people instead of learning the clues from people that are trying to be successful. You know what I'm saying?
That was a good. Yeah, I like that.
That's it,
All
right?
right, all
So
right.
I think so. And just a little bit about my background. I guess where my exposure growing up was on a different level. So I was fortunate enough. Yeah, I was fortunate enough to grow up in a 2-parent household. Little bit of background. My father, his mom died when he was 7. Never had a father. He grew up in a house of one of 13 kids. And he didn't have the structure that he needed, but then he was able to build a career, be an amazing father, amazing husband, and build communities, right? My mother, she was pregnant with my sister at 13 years old, never had a father, had a mother, was kind of in and out, but now she's running Volvo Cars of North America, their whole customer experience department.
Nice.
So I say that to say this, resiliency is in my blood, and operating from a sense of excellence is in my blood. I had parents that I didn't grow up in wealth. I didn't grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth, but I grew up with parents that struggled, but they then still created an outcome that I embodied as a kid, that I was empowered by.
No doubt.
So as I was growing up, my mom would always bring me to Volvo meetings or to the dealerships with her or to these galas where I had to dress up as a family. So as I was younger, it was putting on because we didn't really have money, but we looked like money because my mom drove nice cars because she worked for the company. But what I realized is like, the conversations are different. It's all about relationships. Like you can move in a room, not really like a person, but you can leverage that person. You can move in a room and this is how my mom moves. This is how she introduces herself to people. But then after the fact, she doesn't let it bother her. So it was like, wow. So then my father would always talk about like, look, I'm not going to be able to give you everything as a father, but I'm going to put you in the room with people that can give you everything. So I was like, oh, that's different. So he put me in the room with tutors. He put me in the room with college coaches. He put me in the room with millionaires. He put me in the room with entrepreneurs. He put me in the room with doctors.
Hey, that makes me feel like I'm doing something all right. I've done that for my children.
Right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So it's like, I may not know everything, but this is what I do know. I can know everybody that I can put you in the room with. That's fatherhood. So now as a father to a 5-year-old, look, I may not know everything, but tonight when I get home, he's gonna be able to see me in my house that he built with me, with people that have much more than me, right?
like it. I
So
like
that
it.
he can have more.
No doubt.
So I think mentorship is critical. Critical.
Nah, I believe it. I believe I got a mentor for everything I do.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Now, let's move forward. What are you doing for? Let's talk about what you're doing for entrepreneurs with building books and assisting us put our stories on paper.
For sure. I feel like a book is the biggest investment in yourself that you could write, right? So a question that I always ask people, if you were to lose your voice today, what have you built that can speak for you? Like if you were to lose your voice today, the thing that you probably take for granted, that you don't pray about every day, what have you built that can speak for you? Because a lot of people talk a lot about plans, about ideas, about all these experiences, or they even talk to their kids about advice. But if you lost that today and you weren't able to give advice, you weren't able to shoot these podcasts, you weren't able to create content on social media, you weren't able to speak in front of a crowd, what have you built?
That's heavy, bro.
Right?
That's heavy.
A
It
book
makes
is
me
that-
think about
yeah.
myself, Mike. Like, what have I built? I mean, don't get me wrong. I have businesses and I have a lot. I've done a lot, but I don't think I've ever narrated my story completely. It's in pieces here and there, depending on the conversation. And but no, I don't think I've been completely 100% vulnerable for somebody to see how I manifested through the work and everything I've done. Whether as a father, as a son, as a brother and friend, all the above.
That's the roadmap, bro. Books are the roadmap for the next generation to not make the mistakes that you made as a child. Period. So if you really want to be successful, if you really want to be impactful, leave the roadmap, leave the keys. Success leaves keys. That's it, right? So I think a lot of people are operating from a place of selfishness. They're only thinking about their success. They're thinking about, I want to leave this legacy, buy this real estate, buy all these different things, but that's not really helping the next generation. You can leave I think it's a statistic that people that grew up in the suburbs, I don't know the exact statistics, so don't quote me. If you grew up essentially with money, by the 3rd generation, they're not going to have anything. I think it's something I've read it somewhere, right? So you think about it. I've built this $1 billion business. I have $1 billion in assets. My kids, they good. My kids' they good. My kids' they broke. You know why? Because you didn't have a book, but you had a building.
Bro, you didn't came in here. You didn't came in here with purpose, bro. I like it, though.
Bro.
I like it. Man, heavy. So I don't have a book.
For sure.
Let's talk about getting my book together, bro.
Let's get it. So the first question that I would ask you, so I'm gonna tell a story, right?
No doubt.
So when I was, I'm gonna shorten it up. So when I was 14, I was definitely not always this person that I am today, right? Had an opportunity to really learn a lesson. My parents were going to this concert. I wanted to drive their car. I had a learner's permit at the time. They said no. I knew they was gonna be gone for a long time, so I took the keys anyway. Ended up picking up my boy. We went to this party, dropped him off after the party, came home. I thought there was a malfunction in the car because I thought I hit the brake. I hit the gas and ran straight through the closed garage door. And the whole front end of the car was like on the ground.
Oh my God.
So serious. But this is the crazy part. So I ran into the house. I grabbed a towel. I came back out, wiped down the steering wheel, called the cops, and told them that somebody stole the car, ran it back into the house.
Hold on, man. Hold on. I don't think I heard you right. I gotta repeat that. You ran the car through the garage.
Yes.
Attempted to remove your fingerprints.
Yes.
Called the cops and told them the car was stolen. So the cops come and
So the cops came, bro. Seriously, the cops came and called my parents. Called my parents. My mom wasn't hearing it. Like she was not believing. Like why was somebody? Because they from the hood. I forgot they was from the hood. So they was like, yo, why was so you mean to tell me somebody stole the car, brought it back, and ran it into the house and left?
You was nervous though.
I couldn't think quick enough. Now, like we good. Like I'll get it. I get through it.
Now you can pull it off.
Yo, nah. Let me recite that. So the cops ended up coming. The woman cop was not hearing it. Ended up telling the truth. But what I tell people is that, my parents didn't they didn't say no because they were trying to be mean. They didn't say no because they were just trying to be hard on me, right? They said no because I lacked the necessary preparation to drive the car without assistance. And there's a lot of people that are crashing into businesses There's a lot of people that are disappointed in relationships. There's a lot of people that are jumping in spaces that they don't deserve to be in because they're trying to hop in lanes that they don't need to be in, right? So if you were to write a book, I'm gonna give you what I call it. I'd break it down.
This boy coming
through spicy, bro.
Yeah.
So I built it's called the driver method to be able to step out the seat of somebody else to be able to be the author of your own journey, because you're living based upon somebody else's like expectations.
Correct.
And until you pick up the pen of your life and to be the authority in your life, that's what is the first step to being an author in your journey. Right? So the first step is you got to determine your outcomes. Like, what do you really want? Do you want a book to build a business? Do you want it to be a lead magnet? Do you want to speak on platforms? Do you want to open launch a course? Do you want a coaching program? What do you want the book to be? The second step is review your reader avatar, is what I like to call it. Who is the profile of the person that you're trying to get in front of, right? Because there's two types of people. There's the person that I serve, and it's the person that's paying us. Right? So what I tell people to do is create a Venn diagram. One side, what are all of the characteristics, desires, aspirations of the person that you're serving from your book? The second side is all of the aspirations, desires of the person that's going to be paying you. Because if you're writing a book that can benefit students, that's the person that's serving you, but the students aren't paying for the book because they don't have the money. The parents, the superintendents, the schools, the nonprofits, the camp leaders, all those different things. So it's identifying two different people. But here's the magic in the sauce.
Right,
here's the sauce right in the middle. What is the middle? That's how you build a marketing strategy. Because all the characteristics that align in both of those people, that's how you build the book based upon those characteristics. The I is identify the pain points, the gaps, the internal content. This is where we start structuring the content. So it's kind of like, all right, say I'm X, I'm right here because you've identified what all the desires, everything. But based upon the objective of the book, I want to be here. This is where I want to be. This is where I want them to be. So in that middle, what I call is the transformative process. So if I'm struggling as a drug addict and I don't know what to do, I don't know where to go, but you've accomplished that already, you could probably give me a 3-step process to being able to do that. So we'll use this in a different step. If I wanted to own a real estate project, if I wanted a rental property, right?
There we go.
Give me 3 steps that I need to take.
First, you need to be able to find properties and acquire.
1.
All right. Put the property under contract.
2.
Go to title.
That's chapters 1, 2, and 3 in your next book.
There we go.
You see what I'm saying? So you just created a process. The process are the chapters. And all of the sub-steps in the process, that's the content in the chapters. See, but this is where a lot of people make the mistakes. They're trying to write books. We don't write books no more. It's 2021. You can record content. If you record content for an hour, that's 20,000 word count. See, a lot of people don't know that.
I didn't.
If I was to sit in here and I was to record for a whole hour conversation, I was to ask you critical questions, that's 20,000 words. You upload that to Otter or Trent, and then you send that transcription to an editor and let them figure it out from there.
I was halfway there. We got Otter, bro.
That's it, bro. That's it. So then you structure the content. So then, all right, the V is too much versatility is volatile, right? When you're all over the place, you're nowhere, right? If you're trying to market to everyone, you're not marketing it to anyone. So in your book, it's the same process, right? If I was to ask you to tell me a story about tying your shoe, it doesn't really matter how magical it gets and how amazing your story gets. At the end of the day, you got 2 loops, tie, knot, walk. Period. That's your book. Strip all the meat, all the sauce, all the other stuff, and get to the bones. What is the objective of this book? Be clear, concise, and get to the point. All the other fluff, all the other stories, you can save that for the next book. What is the objective of why I'm trying to get this person to this book?
Why you say that for the next book, and it could be related to that, though?
If it's related, it can be. But if it's not, I think a lot of people try to put all their stories into one book. All your stories don't deserve to be in this one book because it's not about you, it's about your reader.
I was going to ask you why you have so many books.
Exactly. They're all different. Right? I could have made all of them. All right, this is the decision, the discovery, and the destiny. You read all of them. But it was a play I did, right? So the play was, I know you need the next book. So I'm only gonna give you a little bit, because then 6 months from now I'm gonna release another book. And then I'm gonna release another book. But a lot of people don't know that I wrote that one book at one time. It was a 300-page book. But I was like, nah, my market is not gonna buy a 300-page book because it's from a impact standpoint, they're not gonna read it.
How do you know that?
Because I knew college students. I knew high school students. I knew them. I'm not gonna read a 300-page book. Not that I'm not required to read. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna chop it down. But then what I did is I added pages inside of it to be journal pages so that it thickened it up a little bit.
Okay.
So psychologically to the educator, Psychologically, to the principal that's buying it, it's thicker,
Mm,
but it's still the same level of content
understood.
because I knew it. So then we get to the E. So the V is versatility. Too much versatility is volatile. The E is established systems. Like you can have a book, but if you don't have a funnel, if you don't have a sales system, if you don't have email automations, if you don't have an email targeting list, if you don't have all of these other systems, then you can't sell books. It's not about selling a book. It's about bulk book deals. It's about getting your books in bookstores. It's about the right ISBN numbers. It's not about just going to KDP and uploading your book for free because they're going to take 70% of your profit. It's not about just going to a traditional publisher because they're going to own your copy and then they're going to own the revenue that comes from that copy. It's about doing things the right way to be able to
How
get
do they own your copy when you wrote it?
Yeah, they own it because so when you go to a traditional publisher, pretty much there's a clause that pretty much says if we're taking this on, it's ours. That's it's
So
people
why
don't know
use a
that.
publisher then and not do it yourself?
Exactly. You said why don't use a publisher?
Why not use why not do it yourself instead of going through a publisher?
Because people are lazy, bro. That's like why people pay you to do the things that they could just go read books and go get certifications and research. People pay for convenience.
Understood.
Like they don't pay for information. They don't pay for education.
70% seems like a high tax.
Yeah, they pay for convenience. They pay for the 10 years or 20 years that you've been doing something to do it in 6 months.
Facts.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why publishers get bags because you don't want to go through the process of editing. You don't want to go through the process of thinking. You don't want to go through the process of finding a graphic designer. You don't want to go through the process. So you're going to pay me to do it. So from that, I'm going to own it. And then since I've done everything, I'm going to own a percentage of your profit. And then I'm going to pay you royalties that could potentially be 2%, which it doesn't make sense, right? And then the last step, once you establish your systems, is revenue generating activity. You got to know where the bags are. Instead of trying to focus on getting 1,000 people to buy one book for $20, why don't you focus on 2 organizations that could buy 1,000 books?
So you're
That's
talking
it.
marketing there.
Yeah, it's about marketing to organizations, but that's what it's all about, positioning as well. You have to understand how to position it. You have to understand, okay, once you have this book, what are all of the other options? Okay, I can launch a coaching program. I can get retainers. I can be a consultant. I can launch a course. I can have a webinar series. I can build a curriculum from this book. Yo, that's 8 plays right there. That's revenue streams. A lot of people want they want 6 multiple streams of income.
Mm-hmm.
From one book, I just created 8 streams of income. One, and then launch another one in 2 years, and then have another 8 streams.
So you were working as administrator.
Yeah, as administrator.
How did you transition into?
I just did it. It's that simple. Through COVID, we lost funding at jobs. Like we lost jobs, we lost funding. So it was either I sit and collect unemployment like 90% of America right now, or you figure out what gifts I have. So it's crazy because the same stuff I talk about in my books, I do. I identify, all right, what gifts do I have? What are my passions? I love teaching. I love coaching. I love writing. I love teaching people how to do the things. I've sold a hell of a lot of books. I'm still selling books every month. What are my experience? I'm an educator. I have access to all of these people. All right, I'm gonna just do this. I'm gonna launch a course.
Boom.
That's it. And this for anybody that's a perfectionist. Stop trying to shoot all the content first. Stop trying to get all the perfect landing pages. Stop trying to figure out all the emails. Just do it, bro. Just do it. Like the first like 2 months of sessions, I was doing them on Zoom live. And then what did I do? I recorded the sessions and then I sold them for $5,000.
Spicy.
Stop trying to and then when I had the money, now I can hire a real videographer to do it in the right way, and then I can reshoot everything. And then what do? I'm gonna relaunch it, and now it's $10,000. That's the same.
He
concept.
talking to me. I'm at church today. It's okay. It's cool.
That's it, bro.
You know, this is healthy for both of us.
Literally. Literally.
Now, let's go through the process of what you do for your students.
For sure. So I help my students. So let's say you come to me and you're like, Kyle, I'm a coach, I'm a speaker, I'm a consultant. I'm going to help you in 30 days finish a book. Like from conceptualization of your idea, I'm going to help you unpack your story and take you through all of your trauma or all of the different things that you've experienced. I'm going to help you decide on your trajectory. I'm going to help you plan the content. I'm going to help you prepare it for publishing. I'm going to help you identify an editor. I'm going to have you work with my team of graphic designers, and we're going to publish your book within 30 to 45 days, dependent on your work ethic. Now, once we're also going to do, on week 2, once we've conceptualized your book, we're going to launch your book on a 30-day pre-sale. It's a pre-launch strategy. So we live in an age now where you could literally market something and sell it and not even have it done yet, like at all. They're
Right.
taking orders on the new Volvo Polestar car and it's not even done. They don't even have the
Facts.
chips for the cars yet.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Right? It's crazy. So we live in a world where you can sell it and market it. The problem with most people is that they want it perfect before they start marketing it.
I'm guilty of that.
But get money so that it pays for the marketing. Get money so it pays for a right editor. Get money so that it pays for the right graphic designer. Because you're going to exhaust yourself at the front end, and then you're going to be coming from a place of like, oh, I have to make this money back. Then you should have started selling earlier. Just sell it. So what we do, 30-day pre-launch strategy. And then by that time, they've generated at least 10 grand that pays for the things that they need to pay for. And then we focus on a heavy 30-day launch strategy. Usually our authors are averaging around $22,000 to $30,000 from launches.
Gotcha. What type of authors do you have? Have you helped? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I'll speak to like Chris McBride. Shout out to him. He sold 300 copies of his book within the first week. He was in transformational coaching, kind of like a life coach. He came to us with an idea. We helped him publish the book and market it. So he sold 300 copies. So I say that number because he sold that within the first week. I say that number because the majority of author statistics show that in the lifetime of a book, you sell 300 copies. My authors sell 1,000 copies within the first month, right? I can think of Catherine LeRae, single mother. She actually is out here in Atlanta, so she's sold, I think, a couple hundred of copies as well. Shout out to Adrian McGee. He sold, I think, 400 copies, but then he also has now 5 students in his high-level group coaching program. So that's another $20,000 right there. So
Nice.
it's not just about getting people to sell books. It's about, all right, I'm gonna help you get premium clients. Shout out to Crystal Whitaker, just closed the $40,000 deal. She lives in LA, just a $40,000 deal with a D&I company, and she hasn't even finished writing her book yet.
D&I company.
Diversity and Inclusion.
Understood.
So it's super dope, man, to see like my authors get through the process, but then start to learn the business behind the book. It's not just about the book. The book is to get you in, to get speaking engagements, to get, now you're credible as an authority with a company. So now I can go to Google, or I can go to Facebook, or I can go to Ally Financial or Bank of America, and then I recognize that y'all have 20,000 employees that are struggling with mental health through a pandemic, but my book focuses on mental health and how you get through it. Now I just got access to 20,000 employees. Now I can work with their CEO. I can use my LinkedIn strategy to target that individual, and I can get that book in front of 20,000 people.
Got you. You good, Mike? Got you. So when you say LinkedIn strategy, that's just how you target.
Yeah, so we do a lot of things, man. The bulk of my business, interestingly, has been organic or like referrals, which is super dope.
If you're doing a good job.
Yeah, we do a good job, man.
Where the word spreads,
For sure. But I leverage podcasts, I leverage YouTube, I leverage LinkedIn, and then Instagram marketing strategies as well.
Gotcha.
But 80% of our revenue that we see, and then also 80% probably of the revenue that our authors see, comes from the strategies that we leverage on LinkedIn.
Got you. When you publish it yourself, what type of margins are you looking at typically?
100%. Yeah, like so put it out here like this. So let's say you publish a book on KDP. 70% of that book is gonna go out. So let's say your book is $20. You're not gonna see 70% of that. So you're probably gonna make margins, let's say $5 or $3, right? So and then that also depends on the price of your book.
Right.
If I have a book funnel and I'm paying, let's say $297 for ClickFunnels a month, so let's say $300. If I sell a book on ClickFunnels and I house it, it takes me $2 to print the book. It takes me $2 to send the book in media mail. $2 to print the book, $2 to send the book in media mail. I charge $20 for the book.
You got 80% of your money.
That's $16 profit on every single book. If you sell 1,000 of those a month, that's $16,000 a month.
Got you.
Versus selling 1,000 books on KDP and you only seeing like $600.
Understood. Now, let's say, for instance, I'm a real estate investor. I teach people how to get free rental properties.
Okay.
What approach do we take? You know how you said that you had the student, and you had the avatar as far as advertising.
Of course.
Like, what approach do we take in doing that for other people? Because you said some people want to teach, some people want to tell a story.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I have both. But to build my brand, you know, I done been through some things. Just to share a little bit with you, I've been in situations to where got greedy. I was making plenty of money, but got to selling drugs, and I was in a situation where I got robbed, lost everything.
Okay.
Through that, I then went to the military, just to kind of get away, get my mind right. Then I learned about search engine optimization at Angie's List.
Okay.
When an individual taught me about hair extensions as a product, I didn't have interest, but I realized the margin that it could make. And then I was learning about it, helping him out. And we didn't team up together, but I ended up selling hair extensions. And, you know what I mean? We both were successful. I made the Inc. 500 list
Mm-hmm.
3 times and so forth and so forth. In doing so, though, I was making a lot of money. And I didn't want to be like some of my peers who were ball players that lost it all.
Exactly.
And I felt like hair was kind of like my time in the NBA. This ain't gonna last forever. So I started investing for my retirement. Those are like different stages that I feel that people could relate to and it could impact people in a positive way. It's my story. So when you're saying what are you leaving behind, what angle do you take with me first?
So I disagree. Can I challenge you? Is that cool?
100%.
I think that's the story that you've been telling yourself, but that's not the story that's going to relate most to your readers.
And that's why I asked. There we go.
Yeah,
Talk to me. So
my question is so it's not about who you currently serve. Who do you want to serve? What do you want to do? Like, what's your 5-year plan? Who are the people that in a perfect scenario you would want to be doing business with?
man, other investors,
Okay. What are their problems?
the fear, lack of knowledge, resources, to invest in real estate
Where do they want to be?
in a position where they have multiple, where they cash flow monthly, where they're not working at their job.
Okay. What is your 3-step process for people that are in fear, people that have self-limiting beliefs? What is a time in your life where you've had a self-limiting belief? It does.
I didn't have the money.
Stop thinking as an investor. Think about
Sorry.
a person. When is a time in your life where you had a fear and a self-limiting belief and you didn't do something? You didn't do something, and then you end up looking back at it like, damn, that was fear.
Wanted to be a sports agent. I thought it was too challenging. Like I wasn't. Most sports agents were lawyers, and I didn't feel like I didn't feel like I read fast enough to be.
And
a
then,
lawyer.
so connect it with this. So most sports agents are lawyers, and you didn't think that you read fast enough, right?
Mhm.
Most investors are finance guys and white and old men. That's one story. That's one connection. It's about finding the connections with the reader. It's not about looking in your story. It's not about you.
I appreciate that.
That's one. So we would work backwards from there, and then we would identify your reader.
Hey,
and
Mike,
then
you hear
identify
that,
you.
man? He trying to get me to go ahead and
Let's
start
get
my
it.
book.
Let's get it.
Because I'm going way backwards to this.
Exactly. It's not about you. Anybody that's listening right now, it's not about you. It's not about you. It's about your reader. Identify the characteristics in your reader, and then extract and connect the stories that identify with you, and then meet in the middle. And then only keep the things that are intensely focused and intentionally focused on that story. That's it.
So I ain't gonna really we on camera, bro. So I can't be coming at you. But you was talking about some of your authors is selfish. I was gonna be a selfish author, huh?
You're gonna be a selfish author.
Yeah,
That's it. Because so the thing is, once you realize that you have look, I'm gonna give another story. So Bill Clinton, everybody knows Bill Clinton. He was working on his audiobook with an audio engineer, and they were going through and figuring out what was gonna stay in the book and what was gonna leave the book because it was gonna be long.
Mm-hmm.
And they got to the part of the scandal. Bill Clinton looked at the audio engineer and was like, "Is this significant?" And the audio engineer came back at him and he was like, "Yes, of course, Mr. President, this is significant." What you're doing is what majority of my authors do at the beginning. There's stories that you've overlooked. There's stories that you don't talk about that are hella significant that you don't think are significant.
Agreed.
That sports agent story is much more significant than you give it credit to because investors are going through that same thing right now. There's a lot of stories that you've either hid. There's a lot of stories, and anybody listening, the things that you try to hide, the things that you've buried, the things that you haven't dealt with are the very stories that are going to unlock somebody else's revelation in their life.
Hey, bro, you on here, man. You on here.
For sure.
Oh, man. All right, so how can somebody get a hold of you to begin their process? I'm first in line. The rest of the people come second.
For sure,
But
for sure.
how do we get in this process to connect with you to start building our books, man?
Yeah, shoot me a DM. I know we're gonna put something in the link
No doubt.
below. Shoot me a DM. So go to my Instagram, Kyle S. King on Instagram. Shoot me a DM, and if you have questions, man, just reach out. I think a lot of people. I was sitting with one of my mentees at breakfast this morning. He was like, "Yo, I don't want to reach out to people. Or I didn't want to ask you because I didn't want to bother you, or I didn't feel like you would reach back out to me." I was like, "Yo, I'm a person just like you, right? If our last president can respond on Twitter, who am I to be untouchable?" Right? People are people. If you reach out with questions or if you reach out with challenges, I'm gonna answer it. But I also want you to be ready for the answer and for the activity that comes after that as well.
Got you.
Right? So I can give you the what, I can give you the how, or I can give you the what, I can give you the why, but you're gonna have to invest in yourself to get the how.
Facts.
For sure.
Facts. And like you said, it's usually 30 to 45 days, depending on the work ethic and
For
things
sure.
of that nature. After you release one book, what's typically the process, that one goes through? Why is one book successful versus the next?
That is a great question. I think so. Everything is seasonal, and I think if you, I'm gonna answer it in this way because I like stories because it can relate to people. So if you're an athlete, right? It's kind of the question that you're asking: why is one team successful versus the other team? Why did LeBron have a better year this year than the other year? And it all goes back to preparation, right? And that's why I go with the driver model. And that's why I give the story about I was not prepared as a kid. And why I say that is because if you do a strong enough job understanding your reader, if you do a strong enough job understanding the marketing strategy and where these people are online, if you do a strong enough job with a pre-launch strategy and getting the right people on your virtual event, what we like to call a book event, then the rest does itself.
Understood.
Right? But the problem that most people have, to be very honest with you, is that they have a strong launch and then they take their foot off the gas. They make their first 20,000, they make their first 30,000, they make their first 10,000. It's more reasonable. And then they take their foot off the gas. Or it does not hit initially the way that they thought it would hit, and they take their foot off the gas. Where you could have just waited another 2 weeks and just stayed consistent and followed the plan, and then they take their foot off the gas. And that's a mistake that I've made a lot individually as well. I'll have a hell of a month financially, or I'll have a great month, or I'll do something amazing, and then I take my foot off the gas and I don't continue to do the same activity. The only thing stopping somebody right now from sold 10 books, that sells 1,000 books a month, is activity. The same thing that you did to sell 10 books is the same exact thing that you can do to sell 1,000 books. It's the same thing. The problem is that you didn't keep doing it.
Facts.
And all of these other distractions are the reason that it didn't become successful. So what stops a great author from becoming a good author is one, your team, the person that's coaching you, your activity, your level of focus, and understanding who you're marketing to.
Understood.
Yeah. So if you have a clear understanding and clarity of who you're marketing to, the product sells itself.
Boom. That's why we both met. And then we figured out we was in the Make More Offers Challenge.
Let's get it. Let's get it.
Man, I want to thank you, man, for coming through and really dropping us those nuggets. I feel like even myself, like I would have started off the way I even told you.
For sure.
I would have thought that that's kind of like my story. I don't think I try to hide things intentionally. I feel like nobody's ever really like lifted up that carpet for me to look back like that. So no, I appreciate that. I'm definitely interested. So again, we're gonna leave his link down below. Therefore, you could contact him. Is there anywhere else we could, get a hold of you? Is there a website or anything like that?
Yeah, so you can go to publishmein30.com, publishmein30.com. I'm giving out the game on how you write a book in 30 days for free. So go take the webinar, go register for the webinar, and you'll be able to learn the strategies that I even said today. And then you'll be able to get a free workbook and everything so that you can start your journey. But one thing that I want to leave people with. There's somebody right now that is depressed. And I want you to remember that time that you were depressed. There's somebody right now that is getting ready to commit suicide. And I want you to think about that time that you thought about that. There's somebody right now that is getting ready to think about leaving their marriage. There's somebody right now that is really struggling, and I feel it, and I feel them, and I want you to have the same empathy as you're listening to this, because there's somebody out here really struggling, whether it be financially or emotionally or spiritually. But you were also there at one point.
Mm.
How many lives are waiting on your story to be told? How many suicides are occurring right now because you haven't told your story on how you overcame it? How many marriages are ending right now because you haven't given your formula about how you saved your marriage? How many people are going in debt right now because you haven't shared your formula on how you paid off your student loans and stopped your eviction and now you're living debt free? Your story is waiting for you and the world is waiting for your story.
There it is, man. We can't finish that no better than that,
There it
man.
is.
Thank you,
I
sir.
appreciate you, bro.
Again, thank you for checking out another episode of First Generation Wealth Builders, man. Don't forget to tell a friend that we interview dope people, and we typically figure out their relationship with real estate. And I failed there, but you know what I'm saying. We're gonna get back to that because I don't think we done. We're gonna come back and talk about my book and our progress.
Let's get it.
And we'll get to you then. Now, if you're an aspiring investor and you're looking to learn how to find and acquire free rental properties to build generational wealth, make sure you tap into the mentorship calls, the mentorshipcalls.com. We basically team up every Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. and talk about wholesales and acquisitions, free rentals, financing, credit, and everything real estate. So tap in with us, man. We got a book club. You know, you'll be linking up with other investors from all around the country, man. So I love to see you at the mentorshipcalls.com. Tap in, and I'll see you on the other side.